may be listening to this, welcome to the Lazaretto Podcast. I don't know if that name will stay, but that's the name right now. Welcome to a wonderful conversation between three lifelong enemies. I myself am Barry White. No, I am Ben or Ward. Sometimes I go by Ward. I am based in Lexington, Kentucky right now. So that's where I am hunkered down for this apocalypse currently happening. And yeah.
I'm Jacob, and I'm stationed in my foxhole in Georgetown, Kentucky. Quarantine, living the good life of Call of Duty Warzone and a lot of scary movies.
Homemade ice cream.
Homemade ice cream, making lots of that. It's pretty good. That's it about me. On to the next.
I'm Darnell. I'm stationed in Harlan County.
Where in Harlan County?
Apocalypse in Black Mountain. And I'm just at the moment been watching YouTube videos, conspiracy theories, grilling pork tenderloins.
Oh, dang.
And yeah, that's about it for right now. Just held up in the trenches of Denver.
I like how we introduced ourselves. Like whoever would listen to this doesn't already know who we are, but I don't know. Maybe someone might not. But.
Somebody will find this backlog of. They'll be like, "Oh, this is the first episode."
Yeah, in 10 years when we've surpassed PewDiePie on or something, I don't know.
Anyway, so Darnell, you mentioned something about conspiracies. Are you talking about like the Corona conspiracies?
Yeah, I've been looking into a couple of them.
Which one do you find the most believable about this? Because I've heard different things. I've heard bat soup and stuff like that.
I thought that was bat soup a conspiracy? I thought that was actually what. I guess no one will ever know, but.
Well, from this is just like the scientific thing from what I've heard. So, in China, they have, I guess, an open market, and they call them wet markets, and you can buy like produce, and you can buy like live animals and have them killed on the spot. And supposedly, they had bats, and then like a mammal called a pangolin. And they were, I guess, near each other, and apparently the virus jumped from the bat into the pangolin, and then somebody was around the pangolin, and then that's how it got into people. That's like, I'm assuming that's like the general scientific consensus, but that's just what I've been listening to.
I didn't know there was a pangolin. I thought it jumped straight from the bat to the guy or gal.
I guess there's like 3 theories of it, and I think the first one was bat to human, and then the second one was like bat to pangolin, then to human. But either way, it comes from like an animal, definitely.
Well, I think I don't know. The conspiracy I keep hearing is that so there is like to my knowledge, like a bio lab thing in Wuhan where this started. And like this is some sort of weaponized disease that was released for one reason or another. I don't know about that. I mean, you can't really verify that, but
I had seen that theory also, and I had seen that it was an American bioweapon used for China that backfired. Kind of got out of the cage on them.
Yeah, there's like a whole thing of like Bill Gates is like in on it somehow, which I don't really know much about it, but I do know here's the real conspiracy that's not even actually a conspiracy is they're using, I mean, it's no secret, they're using the coronavirus to kind of usher in more of like a world government, like a more unified globalist government. For instance, like um, it's like this whole idea of like we need like increased international cooperation because of how the disease is spread, stuff like that. Bill Gates, for instance, he has this thing called ID 2020, which is like there's literally a website you can look it up where he wants to like fight diseases and like keep track of people and all this stuff by implanting them literally with like ID chips. Like this literally isn't even a lie. Like this is, you can look at the website and it's real. All this really like dystopian stuff, which is really disconcerting. Also, like George Soros. I don't know if anyone knows who that is, but he's like this billionaire who's ruined several economies across the world.
Right.
I think Darnell knows who this guy is, but he was also involved with like some sort of funding with like the Wuhan lab and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sort of talking out of my hind end, but this is just what I know. But
No, this is what we want to hear because, I mean, this isn't going to be a Joe Rogan podcast. Every episode's going to be a conspiracy theory, but we want to get this corona right out the way because, I mean, it's affecting all of our lives in a certain way. So we want to talk about just different random theories going on.
no, I just think, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's the suspicious part, which like there's not necessarily a design behind it, but the economic downfall from this is going to be so much worse than like the actual death toll.
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard to feel like, who's actually going to benefit from this, like from this kind of restructuring that's going to be happening. And we have also seen like I know a lot of people love Andy Bashir and how he's like the Corona daddy or whatever.
Corona daddy.
But
Govern me daddy.
yeah, I don't know about that. But it's like people, this is showing how like docile people are and how easy it is to actually, well, it depends on who you ask, but it is like pretty easy to get people to just listen to the government and like, suspend travel, tell people you can't go outside, close things, tell people you can't do this and that, and like really kind of be authoritarian towards the people. So I think it's definitely setting up like a new precedent for like government authority in the future, which I personally don't like. I mean, on the one hand, it's like, yes, this is like a concerning disease, but also it's just showing how so many people will just be like, yeah, I will trust the government and I will do whatever they say, even though like throughout this coronavirus thing, they've like changed their minds about stuff. Like the masks thing, at first they're like, don't wear masks, and now they're like, wear masks. So I feel like that's kind of a dangerous precedent. But that's just me.
I find that strange of the mask change. I guess it was like, well, I guess coverage is better than no coverage. But, I mean, it prevents, I think, regular paper mask that you get, at a throwaway doctor's office, not what's the ones they use right now, the
N95, I think.
N95s. It's not that, but, the regular ones they use from a day-to-day basis. I just think it's odd that they went from those kind of work, those might not work, to, you can use them. We encourage it.
Yeah, I think the real use is people. So another like twist is, so apparently you can have coronavirus now and like just be totally asymptomatic. Like you don't have symptoms at all, and like you might never show symptoms.
Yeah.
But so if you do have the coronavirus, obviously you can still like transmit it. So it's much more important for the people who have it to wear masks, because like when you sneeze and cough and yodel and stuff like that, like droplets, big old droplets go out into the air, and so the mask helps with that. But with just like breathing, I don't think it doesn't help that much. But
it's more for people that have it. It's like to stop the spread. It's more of to stop the spread than it is preventing it, because the best thing to prevent it is just stay away from large crowds, and then just wash your hands. Like that's the best way to prevent it until they get a vaccine.
Yeah. I don't know. I think also, I guess it keeps you from like touching your face and stuff, which I guess is useful, but I don't know. But
A theory I had, just jump back on the theories real quick. The theory I had read, because I googled this morning when I woke up. I was like, what are some theories surrounding the corona? What's causing it? And dude, there's some wild ones, and the most wild one I seen is the first one that popped up, and it was corona is caused by 5G.
oh yeah, yeah.
And I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I know corona's real, but I don't understand how they draw from 5G transmitting it, or it's all, a front.
Darnell might have read about this too, but from what I understand, so the main connection that people draw is 5G. So the tinfoil hat about 5G has already been a thing for a while, but apparently radiation sickness symptoms. This is just like what I've heard. I'm talking out of my, but like radiation sickness and coronavirus have like really similar symptoms, like flu-like symptoms and stuff. So people are like, "Oh, this is actually 5G," and this is like prepping us to like, this is like the purge to prepare us for 5G or whatever. But I don't know.
I guess I'm so out of touch because I had never heard that.
I don't. Which my dad was always, which my dad is, or at least was, sort of like an Alex Jones conspiracy guy. But he always said that like radiation. Well, like obviously radiation is bad for you, and like don't leave your cell phone sitting on your crotch, and don't sleep with your cell phone right next to your head because you'll get a brain tumor sort of thing. But I don't know. I feel like 5G is, I don't know. I mean, like everything you read on the internet, like, yeah, what can you believe anymore? I guess that's the theme of living in this age, is you just don't even know what you're reading. But
what's the truth?
Yeah. But
Now, I hadn't been to the store in I guess in 2 weeks. I hadn't been to a store. I'm a spoiled husband. My wife went for us for 2 weeks straight, and then one day I was like, I need to run out and get a couple things. She's like, yeah, go ahead. So I go to Walmart, and they've got stuff roped off. Everywhere I look, there's people with masks on and gloves. And I'm getting kind of freaked out because I hadn't been since the collapse of society.
I didn't know people were actually wearing the gloves and stuff. I'd only seen the.
They're spraying down buggies, which I mean, I had heard that that's what they were doing right when this started, which is good. Spraying down with sanitizing stuff. But yeah, I was getting kind of nervous in there because the whole time I'm like, I don't want to pass the virus, but if I get it, then I mean, it is what it is. But then I get in the store and I'm getting kind of scared, looking around. It's like the apocalypse. Bicycles are wiped out. Puzzles are wiped out. I think toilet paper's made its comeback finally.
Yeah. I was about to say, I just never really understood at all the toilet paper crisis. Like, were they just going to stop making toilet paper? I don't get it. Like,
apparently the toilet paper is made in China. Some, I guess, toilet paper brands are made in China.
Seriously?
Yeah, and I guess where they were going to shut off like shipments from here to there, people stocked up on it. But I just I assume like they would make toilet paper here.
Yeah, that's
like they have like a paper mill in Kingsport, Tennessee. So like, I mean, there's paper mills around the country. So I just figured like if I figured they just make it here, but apparently not.
It's weird. I don't know, man. I was just thinking. I guess I was thinking a little caveman. I was like, I'll just shower.
Yeah, or like buy a bidet.
Buy
You can buy like bidets that just plug up to your toilet or whatever.
Yeah, you can patch a line from like the water the where the water comes into the back of your toilet and make a bidet with like a, a kitchen sink sprayer.
See, Darnell, I just want to know why you know that information off the top of your head.
Cause like,
Times
because
were getting
a bunch
hard.
of people at Southeast, they're like they're like coal miners that's laid off, so they know a lot about repairing stuff and plumbing and carpentry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they were just like sharing like memes.
Cushion wisdom.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, direct impact, man. I've seen it. My father works in the healthcare career of some sort. I won't be specific because I don't know how specific I'm allowed to be. But I've seen him wear PPE that's just making him sweat, and he's got to wear it the whole day, change it out, stay clean, and stay. I mean, he's 50s, so early 50s, 50 right on the dot. I don't remember. I'm sorry, Dad, if you're listening. um, so I mean, I'm worried about him getting this virus and it taking a hold, but that's the direct impact I've seen within my family. And I mean, my job, I work at a automobile manufacturing place in Georgetown. I wonder what it could be. Uh, but when cars don't sell, I mean, we can't make them. So I've been at the house this is week number 3 right here, which is cool.
So I'm curious, Jake. I've been reading all these like dumb little articles about, oh, I never really knew my significant other until the corona happened. Like, so I guess this is maybe the longest like continuous amount of time you've actually spent in the same place as your wife, the one they call Kelsey. Like, how has this like affected your relationship or something in like some juicy way, or is it just kind of more of the usual, or I don't know.
I'll say this. I've seen a lot of people complain about their significant others since being home. And I don't get why people want to shit talk their spouse, number one, online, and
Nagging wife. Yeah.
nagging wife. But I would say our relationship has improved just spending more time together. Because, I mean, since being married, this is the longest amount of time we've been together from a day to day basis, besides, sleeping and me going to work. But normally I get a couple shutdowns a year. But, I mean, 3 weeks, that is absolutely the longest amount of time together that we've had so far. And I mean, it's kind of like we reverted back to being in high school, which is great. We just spend every single day together. I don't really see any flaws to it. I get to spend more time with my son. And this is the longest I've been with him since he was born. So he'll be 4 months this month. So I mean, I've enjoyed my time. I've never had a stressful moment with her directly. Well, I hate being at home. I want to go back to work.
Have you gotten tired of the kid at all?
No, not really. I mean, he's got his routine, and he kind of keeps me on routine. I literally wake up, feed him. He goes back to sleep. I either take a nap or watch like 3 movies right in a row, which that's not healthy in any way.
I mean, what else are you going to do, I guess?
And sometimes I sleep, but yeah, I mean, I'm not tired of either of them. It's fun. I kind of miss seeing my friends. Yeah, so originally, those listening, this podcast was going to be, in one central location. So if the audio is a little crummy, it's because we're all in 3 different locations due to the sweet COVID-19. But yeah, I'd like to see my friends again and go hard in the paint, cooking, grilling together. But so, I mean, I've been out, I ain't ran into anybody, but I've heard Darnell has ran into somebody at a
Yes.
dollar store when he went out to get supplies.
Yes. So the other day, I was going out with my mom to get some rations to sustain us for the next few weeks.
You went out with your mom?
To the store. to the store. And I ran into the dollar store to get something. I don't remember what it was. And I was standing in line, and I guess I was behind about 3 or 4 people. And a guy was acting jittery, and he had a couple of tattoos on him and was wearing like pajamas and was like, just acting kind of erratic, but in like kind of in control, but kind of in erratic at times. And I'm assuming the guy must have been either been in withdrawal from drugs or he was currently on the drugs at the moment I was in the store, and he was talking to people in the aisle as anybody does just to pass the time. And just from overhearing his conversation, he was, this has nothing to do with the coronavirus until later on in the story, but he was talking about how he was living with his dad, and his father was apparently alcoholic during his youth, and he would come home in the middle of the night and, wake him up. And he was saying to this woman that he, had to fight his dad and choke his dad out, and that, he was sick of his dad and he was getting ready to move out and stuff. And by the time we got up to the cash register, he was telling me, it's like, hey man, all this coronavirus junk. I mean, I believe it didn't come from I didn't believe it comes from no China. I believe it's the U.S. government, buddy. I was like, you know what, man? You probably got a point about that.
I mean, he might not be wrong.
I mean, I'm assuming what he was saying is like a retaliatory attack, I guess, or retaliation against China for I guess maybe, I don't know, over trade maybe, or espionage or something like that. But to be honest, I'm not sure I'm not sure about. There could be several angles as to why the U.S. would have, done a biological attack on China. But
You always have deep conversations with crackheads in any store in Harlan County, and I mean, I don't think I've ran into any of that up here in northern Kentucky.
That is something you don't see quite as much, but
No, that's good, Darnell. That's good that he's keeping you aware. That guy's he saw you, young African American man. He was like, I gotta inform him.
yeah, man.
Darnell, do you fear the coronavirus? How do you feel about this? I know you're conscious of your health.
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely like afraid of it, mainly because from what I've seen, it at first, like in December, January, even like early February, they're saying, well, if you're in good health and it's just affecting people that's older people, and older people have usually pre-existing conditions. But now it's like it's getting everybody. Even like I saw in the UK, it's like at one hospital, all the patients that the ICU doctor was treating were under 50. That all of them that were in the ICU were under 50 years old. So not just I have I have asthma, but at the same time I'm a pretty healthy person. So I mean it concerns me about it, but I'll just keep doing standard precautions and stuff until it gets over, and then if I were to get it, just go to the hospital and hope everything works out. That's really all you can do.
Now, there are no coronavirus cases in Harlan right now, right?
No, it's
At least.
no, it's just in like surrounding counties. And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, things in like Letcher County and Prairie County, but it's not in Harlan or Bell County.
I like seeing some of the rednecks on social media, kind of fighting the power back, because the mayor had released a statement of Harlan County. It kind of what do they call that? Mandating.
I
Mandate?
guess, yeah.
Yeah, mandated that only one person from your family can come in, and if you have a kid, please just make it one person, not big groups of people coming in. And dude, the rednecks went wild with that. They were livid. By God, don't let the local government tell you how to go into Walmart.
I don't know, man. These people confuse me because, like, these people, like, sort of fight the power with stuff like that, but then they also, like, totally don't fight the power. Like, they just do it anyway. Like, they really complain about it, and they might even be on the right track about, like, maybe questioning what the government or, like, whoever is doing or not doing right, but then they just
Yeah.
show up and do it that way anyway. I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't get it. But yeah, it's interesting to see how people react in times like this. And I've seen a lot of businesses that are quote unquote non-essential.
yeah,
I think every business is vital to our economy. So I'm not saying nobody's less essential than the other, but you know how the wording is nowadays. But I think those businesses have become more creative. I've seen a comic book shop. They were they're like, call us, and if we have it, we'll run it out to your car, and you just pay us online. And very interesting ways of trying to keep selling your products and maintain a business through this hard time of we got to shut down restaurants, where you got to do this, shut
yeah,
down bars. I've seen alcohol to go, curbside.
yeah.
But I would say it's shown that the human race is still creative, so that's a good thing.
I think, kind of like you just talked about, this is going to show how I feel like there will definitely be a real change in how a lot of the business world works after this. Like the realization that you that a lot of like in-person business just isn't really necessary at all. You know, like
Yes.
people can work at home and be just as productive, probably less productive, but no one is really productive anyway. That's
Yeah.
one thing I've learned in my brief time as like a professional is like no one's actually productive at all.
Yeah, it's all a facade of acting like we're productive.
Yeah, which is kind of like my job, which you know, I do like communications, like social media stuff, and like so it's like
You're an influencer.
yeah, I'm an influencer, but like back pre-Rona, you know, I would do maybe, you know, you do like a couple, maybe 3 hours of like actual work, and then the rest of the day, you're just kind of killing time. And like so many other people I've talked to, it's basically the same way. But I think after this, I feel like a lot of that'll change. You know, companies will realize they don't have to have like office complexes to operate. And I was reading too about, you know, we've seen a decline in certain cities, like New York City has sort of been on the decline in terms of, um, like for instance, like half of all the new condos and apartment buildings built in New York since 2015 are like empty, and
Wow.
just how like these mega cities and stuff. At least like the American mega city is kind of like obsolete now, realizing that there's no reason why people really need to be all in one place to do stuff,
Right.
which I think is interesting. But yeah, I feel like I don't know how you all think about it, but just seeing all the stuff where people are like, this is our 9/11 moment. This is the definition of a generation. I don't really know, but I guess we'll just see.
I wouldn't say it's a 9/11 moment, but I mean, we are all living history right now because we've never seen this. Whenever at my job, all the older people are like, because I was like, we going to shut down? No, we ain't ever going to shut down. We ain't shut down since 2008 during that recession. And even then, we ain't going to shut down now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like literally over a week time span, shit got real serious. And I mean, that tells you, I mean, my grandmother, which we may get on here one day on a podcast, she lives at a nursing home type facility. And she said, I'll probably blow over in a week or so. Now she's like freaking out because they've quarantined her there. It's pretty great. I love you, Annabelle.
Call me. No, just kidding.
Call me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are living history. I wouldn't say it's 9/11 moment, but it is a very, very big moment in history for the world. And I would say, I mean, I don't know really much what's going on besides China and Italy, but in America, things will be changed after this moment of how we watch movies. I mean, I wouldn't say how we watch movies because people love the experience of the theater, but I mean, they literally shot out movies that were at the theater to digital instantly.
Yeah.
In which, when we wrap up, we can all throw a recommendation out of a movie we've watched during this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think about, apparently there was like the Spanish flu in 1918, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Apparently that's racist to say Spanish flu, by the way.
Well, I was reading like the origin story why it was called the Spanish flu, but regardless, the 1918 whatever flu,
H1N1.
the H1, the ABC flu, I don't know. They killed like 500,000 Americans. Granted, it lasted like a couple years, but like the worst, like the projections for this virus are like, I think it was like 240,000. As many as 240,000 will die. So like, that's fewer people dead, and the population is like twice as big now. So, and like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like, growing up, I didn't really know about the 1918 flu, or like, we read it in a history book, but it didn't really like mean anything to us. So I wonder if this will actually, be different somehow and like actually really be a historical moment or whatever. But I guess apparently more Americans are out of work now than ever before. So it's like totally unprecedented in that department. But yeah, I don't know.
Darnell, you got any thoughts to add to the historical? If it's going to be a historical moment, what you think is going to change afterwards?
I don't know. Some I was like, there's some economists were saying that it's going to be like a depression type situation, depending on how long it lasts. And plus, the thing is too, like I think I saw in where China they're trying to like starting to reintegrate the society again, and they haven't had any deaths. I think as of today or yesterday, they didn't have any deaths for the first time since it started. But at the same time, I don't know. I think it'll alter society, fundamentally alter society to an extent. But like, it's kind of the same way how there was like a panic after 9/11.
Yeah.
And the invasion of Iraq, and then we went to Afghanistan, and there's like a storm, and then like a fallout from it, and then people were afraid of terrorism and stuff, which I mean people still are, but it's like there are people over there, people we're still fighting the war on terror, but then but nobody really thinks about it as if it's like on our soil or like it affects their lives or anything. So I think like once this blows over, it'll be like a 9/11 moment, but at the same time, I don't think people will remember it as much as 9/11, and I think probably we'll like reintegrate and people will like remember it and stuff. But at the same time, I don't know. I just don't think people really remember history, because if we remembered history, it would have been easier to prevent this in the first place if people actually studied it. That's kind of my thing. Like I think we'll think of it for like a year or so, and then like it'll just be a faded memory until the next pandemic comes up or the next big catastrophe comes. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think something that's interesting to think about, kind of like you're saying, Darnell, is so like the epicenter of all this coronavirus right now is like in New York City.
Right.
And I think we have to remember when we read all this news about like, oh, everyone's life is being destroyed and changed for forever. Like these are like East Coast people. These are like coastal people. And I feel like, like once you get into like the actual inland America, a place like Kentucky, we really don't have that many cases. And, like, yes, people are dying, and that's unfortunate. But I feel like in our memories here, it's just going to be like, oh, yeah, remember that time when we couldn't really go to work for a couple months and
couldn't go to work, couldn't go to church.
Yeah,
I think more people around here, or a lot of people, I guess, are more concerned about like not going to church and not, being, or I guess like a lot of people are afraid and stuff, but a lot of people are kind of concerned about stuff that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Or I think church is like a thing, but I feel like the main thing people are afraid about is like their jobs, obviously, and like their businesses.
Yeah, like their jobs, yeah.
Like, I feel like, I don't know how you guys feel, but I can't really worry too much about the economy because like I've like barely even got into the economy as like a working person. So like assuming everything blows up, I'm just kind of like I'm just going to take like one step back instead.
I feel okay. I feel like, because I mean, my job field is always in demand, and so I think I'll be okay on my end. But working at like a restaurant where I just saw today, what was that? Logan's Roadhouse. I think they laid off all the employees there, and I know different businesses are like that too. Different businesses are closing that are more local that just can't, that may have been behind before this, and then now they're stuck in limbo. Well, we can't pay bills, so we're shutting down for real. Even after this is over, we're done.
Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, I think we're lucky to, not really be in that sort of business that depends on a lot of this.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, number one, we just can't really do anything about it. Number two, yeah, it's just, what can you really do? But I also feel like for us, we kind of grew up, like we were just kind of hitting puberty and stuff when the whole 2008 global crisis financial thing happened. And so I feel like our whole lives, we've just kind of been familiar with the economy being terrible.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is just nothing new, but I don't know.
We'll wrap this up. We promise not all our topics will be this depressing. We just wanted to start out with this that's relevant and what's going on in the present time of the Roni. And but next time we'll be talking about, I don't know, recipes, movies.
We'll be intoxicated next time. So.
We'll be intoxicated. Slamming back some L8s
Yeah,
or some chalky milk.
some DMT.
I mean, I don't know. I guess during this some crowd, because I guess there are some people that are, at least from just on social media, a lot of people are like, when I say like it seems like there are a lot of people that aren't concerned about things that don't matter. I guess by saying that, to further elaborate, it would be that people will kind of care about the surface issue things like going to church, or going to see a friend, or you know just going to the store and buying something for dinner that night. But then there's like a double sided coin to this, how people are kind of concerned about the surface issues, and then some people are concerned about their livelihood, and then some people are concerned with their life. And then a lot of times the people that are the most affected are concerned about their livelihood and their life, because they're in the crosshairs, working at Walmart.
Yeah,
You can be exposed to the virus, but at the same time, due to the amount the amount of hours being cut back, you could very well lose your job at the same time. So it's kind of like you lose your livelihood, but you lose your life. You can lose your life at the same time. So
Right.
I guess that's like the biggest takeaway from this whole thing.
it's really
So
sad.
it is sad. It's a very disheartening note to leave off on.
Before we go, are you enjoying this quarantine, Darnell? Like, I don't know, like, how have you been coping with, you know, being inside all day or,
I mean, being an introvert, it's not, really not that bad
yeah,
for me. I mean, like, I miss, like, going out and doing stuff with, like, you guys and everybody else in, like, the friend group. But, other than that, it's, nothing really too bad for me. I guess it just depends on the type of person you are, really, as to where it'll affect you or not.
yeah, that is a good point. I feel like, I don't know, I feel, yeah, as an introvert, I've enjoyed it pretty well. Not really having to see people in person, except for like the few people that I really do want to see in person, But,
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, but I like to have my time going for a walk or something.
yeah.
I'm very upset that they shut down my Raven Run
Yeah,
sanctuary.
I don't know. I feel like, and not to like go off on another tangent, I knew we got to wrap this up, but like honestly, if you really think about it, like it really doesn't make sense that they would shut down a place like Raven Run or like certain parks and stuff. Like obviously, yeah, people are going to congregate there and stuff. But when you think about it, the one place you can still go that you're like encouraged to go to is the store.
Yeah.
But literally everyone's at the store. Like literally everyone's at the store. I mean, you've seen all the videos and stuff. Like
Mhm.
there's no worse place to go than the store.
At
But
first,
they're
it's
not.
a month check hit, and
Yeah,
everybody's there congregating.
but they're. I
Right.
feel like they haven't even tried to think of like a solution for how people might get their groceries without having to go to the store where like everyone else literally is. But
Hmm.
I mean, what are you going to do, I guess? But,
Well, maybe they'll be answered within the next couple weeks. Who knows?
yeah, if we don't die.
If we don't die, there'll be another episode. Uh, try to. I don't know how we're going to post these.
I'm going to do one episode a day for the next year.
Dear God.
Audio journal. Yeah.
Audio day number 15. I ate my
Like
pet
that.
hamster.
Like that meme of Mr. Krabs when he opens the Krusty Krab 24 hours a day. It's like podcast day 754 or something.
So, on that note, all right, anybody, let's give out some recommendation show or movie that we've watched since being on lockdown here. I will start off. I watched The Hunt. It's available for rent for like $20 on any of your streaming services. I highly recommend it. Good satire of bipartisan system and how people react on social media.
What's it called?
The Hunt.
Never heard of it. But yeah. I guess I would recommend. I watched this movie. Was it The Circle? Is that what I'm thinking of?
That's the movie you told me about.
The Circle. It's on Netflix. Basically, a bunch of people stand in a circle and terrible things happen, and it's a real brain buster. Yeah, it is. It's an interesting movie. It's on Netflix, so I recommend it.
I'd say if I had to recommend any movies, usually if I watch a movie, it's like something that's recently come out. But I guess I would say this: if you can do it, I like say go back and watch like older movies, like something like Scarface or you know Dirty Harry or
Pretty in
the good, bad,
Pink.
and the good, bad, and ugly, something like that. If I usually watch a movie, it's like going back to the classics.
Well,
So I would recommend like good, bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly, or or the Death Wish series or the Dirty Harry series. But any of those movies or Scarface, any of those like old school, type of you know guy lives on the edge type of a movies are pretty good in these times right now to get you fired up.
Risky Business is an all-time fave. Tom Cruise did excelente.
Darnell, what YouTube channels are you bumping right now, if any?
I don't know.
You watching a lot of cooking?
Yeah, I watch like a couple of cooking videos every now and then.
Maybe next time
I like watching the Great Big Story. It's called Great Big Story on YouTube.
All right. Well, let's end out. I don't know how we're going to end this.
Thanks everyone for tuning in, if anyone did.
Day 15 of quarantine. I had to eat mama.
I thought you said my armor. I had to eat my armor.
I had to eat my toilet paper.
Eat mama.
All right. Well, till the next one.